Good morning, and welcome back to our time together this morning. Thanks for having coffee with me. Great way to start the day. And today's text, we're looking at texts that discuss our deciding between good and evil, right? Echoing what we heard in the gospel this past Sunday with the parable of the wheat and the weeds. That sometimes good and evil can be hard to tell apart, but God gives us a way to distinguish. And so I actually turned to a book I don't think we've used yet in the coffee videos. It's kind of the fun of doing the Bible library series was checking out some books that aren't used as often. And this one, I think, well, I know we've referenced in other videos. But anyway, I don't think we've used in coffee yet. And this is the book of Proverbs, wise sayings. And not really surprising, in here chapter 3 and in other places in the book of Proverbs talks about what we're talking about this week. The struggle of good versus evil and our role in that. I'm going to read you Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 8. I want you to hear the proverb, and then we'll discuss. This is the NRSV translation. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight. In all your ways acknowledge the Lord, and God will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Turn away from evil. It will be a healing for your flesh and a refreshment for your body. I think it's interesting, this proverb. And I should mention, this section of the Proverbs, the proverb, if you will, that make up the chapter are separated into different paragraphs. This is one paragraph here. So this is meant to be read together, verses 5 through 8. Remember, when they're written, obviously they didn't have chapters and verses. Those were assigned later. But these were meant to be read together. And it's interesting. According to this proverb, evil comes when we rely on ourselves more than when we rely on God. I mean, it fits our conversation, right? We talk about that God shows us a better way. God sets before us life and death. God, shows us the difference between good and evil when it's hard for us to see. And it's interesting here. This is even obviously the Proverbs is Old Testament, before Jesus. It's back then they knew. I love the verse 7. Do not be wise in your own eyes. What an interesting phrase, right? What we see, right? Don't view yourself so much as wise, I guess. Fear the Lord. Turn away from evil. Those are inherently connected. Fear being a respect for the Lord, probably be a good translation too. That's another video for another time. Anyway, this idea that we're not always right. I always mention this. If you have feedback for me on sermons or videos or conversation, please. I'm not always right. I try my best to follow God's wisdom for us, but I can get it wrong. And that's true for all of us. I think it's important. This proverb points out that yes, it's important to follow the way of the Lord, but I think it also points out to us that sometimes we can be fooled with what we see. We can see that we're the smartest person in the room, or that we've got it all figured out, but the proverb tells us that's not true. Only God has it all figured out. In fact, I would argue the moment when we think we have it figured out, we got something wrong. It kind of fits our rule we have, right, with anyone who's too certain about the end times probably doesn't know anything about the end times. It's kind of the same thing. Anyone who knows everything and is not open for conversation and insight, especially from God, probably doesn't know that much. Like we talked about, every day we have a choice. And I think part of that is being open to the possibility that what we have understood previously may be incorrect. There might be more data out there than we realize, different perspectives. We might have our facts wrong. We might not understand the full complicity of our role in systems, or the extent that systems are bringing death to others. This is true wisdom from God. Humility and fear of the Lord are inherently connected. And here this is the same. And not only that, notice how it ends. It'll be a healing for your flesh and refreshment for your body. to bring you life, right? God talks about life or death, humility, openness, a willingness to learn is good for us. Refreshment's a special word in the Bible. The Holy Spirit is the refresher, right? That's an action that God does. It renews us. It empowers us. It is a power of God. Refreshment is, all right, like living water. Living waters refresh. Now, this is a godly action here. God will refresh your body. So, I think that's look at that. Just 4 verses out of Proverbs brought us all of that wisdom. So, um, today, why don't you not assume you're right about all of everything? I'll give it a try too. I think in 2020, it's a very charged year politically, etc. It'd be easy to think we're always right. Let's be humble. Let's give it a try. Even if I think we already are, give it a try. See you tomorrow.